Alright guys, this is Jason over at iBog.co. I'm going to run through a few of the little animation settings that you can do through ATVO. There's several different ways you can go about it, but for right now we're just going to do the basic simple things to get you started. What you're going to do is open up your editor. I've got a theme that is completely blank right now that we're going to use. It's set up for a 1920 by 1080, as you see here. Your widget's completely empty, no animations, no buttons or anything like that. So now what you can do is we're going to make two different widgets, and we're going to make them half of the other size. So the first one we're going to do it 500 by 500, and as you see it's a square box. There's no images or anything, so we're just going to do a plain black background, as you see. And now we're going to make a second widget, which is going to be 250 by 250, and from there we're going to center that, so it will be at 125 by 125. And then we're going to make this one white, just so that it's got that contrast so that we can see. Alright, so from here we're going to do animation. You can add animation. There's several different to choose from. You've got your translate, your scales, your skews, rotates, and opacency. Your opacency, of course, is just going to be going from nothing to blank, or from blank to showing. On opacency, the far left one, or far left dot, needs to be a 0. The far right dot needs to be a 1. You can adjust your easing functions, which is how it comes in or goes out, anything like that. For now, we're also going to change the duration to 500 so that it happens quicker and you can see more. And that's the default opacency at 500. You can always add more, so if you want it to come in a little quicker you can, or if you want it to come in a little further out you can as well. So that's just your basic opacency. Now some of the others that you can do are going to be your translate. X, that's going to be your sliding from left to right. That's going to be the widget, the entire widget itself will slide. So it defaults to 0 and 0 on this one. However far you want it to slide to the right is what you will need to adjust here. So say if we want it to slide 250 pixels, which is the same amount here, it should come out to where the left line will be right around here. And with that animation speed, it's going to be a little hard, so we're going to adjust that again. So let's go back up to 2000. And I do apologize. 250 actually puts it to right here. But, I mean, there's so many different ways that you can go about that. The translate Y is going to be down, or like up and down is what it's going to do. So if you do 250 on it, it's going to slide it down. And then if you do a negative number, it's going to slide it up. Same way with the translate X. If you do a negative number, it slides to the left. Now the next one is going to be your scale, which we know that this box is a 250 by 250. It defaults to 1 and 1. For the animation portion for N, you want it to default to 0 and 1. So your first dot needs to be a 0, second dot needs to be a 1. Then the little cog here, since we're going to be messing with the slide, or the x-axis, which is why it says scale X. Say if we do 250, it's going to slide from the right to the left. This one's a little reversed, so if you want it to go from the left to the right, you have to do a negative number, and then it just slides directly on in. Now, with it being half to get it to start directly from that line and slide out, you have to do it at half the amount. So half of 250 is going to become 125, and you'll see that when this slides in this time. This line stays still, it doesn't kind of shift in and then slide in. And then same thing with a positive number, it's going to start from the right side and shift left. So if you do it at half of the box size, it's going to start at, according to if you're negative or positive. Positive, it will start on the right side. Negative, it will start on the left side. And that's how you get your slide ins and slide outs. Then of course you've got your scale Y, which does the same thing, only from the top to the bottom. Anytime you change an animation here, you will need to go in and adjust the values again. So as you see it, put it back to 1, so you will put it at 0. And then this one, since it's a completely square box, we can do half of that again, so we're going to do 125. And this is going to start from the bottom and go up, I do believe. Yes, I was correct. So it is negative on the slide ends. And now if you want kind of like different ways for it to slide in, you can adjust your easing. So say if you want it to be kind of bouncy when it comes in, and of course you can always adjust that as well. Or say if you want this style, I mean, each of them have their own little quirks. It really just comes down to how you want it to do it. If you want to adjust the bounces or the bounciness, you come in and adjust these. So say if you want 50 bounces and only 1 bounciness, you would hit that and it flashes like crazy that way, but you see that it does actually work. So we've got the first one set up for the ease in. Oh. And we're just going to do a plain Jane one for right now so that we can see it. I'm going to adjust the animation speed to 500. And it slides in, slides out. If you want it to reset, so if you're only going to show it for a few moments, you would have it slide in and then it would default back to the first, or sorry, the auto reverse. The reset first resets it back to its initial state. So the auto reverse will let it slide in and then slide out. For auto reverse, if you're going to use that and you want it to stay up and stay visible, you will need to adjust your duration. So let's do this one to 1,000, and you'll see it come in and then slide right back out. If you want it to stay in a little bit longer, you can do say 2,000, and then this dot come to the halfway mark, and then it'll stay, and then it will come out. So as you adjust this, if you put it at half of the amount, it'll stay for this entire portion of it, and then once it gets to the 2 seconds, it will come back. Once it hits the initial or the end portion of the animation, it will start going backwards. So as you watch the red line, and then it will start and stop. And that's how that would come into play. But I do not use that mainly because most of the animations that I'm doing right now are sliding in, staying in for a while until you're done with them. You press stop, and then the animation kind of repeats, but only in reverse, which I will walk you through that as well. So we're going to put it back to 500. We're taking off auto reverse. So now we know that this one is already set, so we're going to copy it. So you can do Control C, Control V on the animation. Now you have copy of, and this one all you have to change is the values here. So how the original one was 0 and 1, this one is going to be 1 and 0. So now the animation is going to be reversed. And then from there, you just kind of add more and more to it And for the back, the black one here, we're going to have it set up, since this one comes up and down, this one's going to go left and right, just so that you can see that type of animation in action. So you're going to add an animation, which right-clicking and adding animation over here does not work currently. So you have to click add animation at the top. And since that one was a Y, we're going to do an X. And remember, the first one needs to be a 0, second one needs to be a 1, and then since this is 500, half of that is going to be 250. So we're going to do negative 250, so it starts at the left and then comes out. And then of course we're going to do this one at say 750, so it takes just a little bit longer to come in. Uncheck reset to default, and as you see, this one is still trying to show the white one, so we're going to go to widget 1, and then you can see it slide in. So we've got that one. So now we're going to control C, control V again, and then you're going to open this one up, and then go make sure that the box, or the little dot, is highlighted blue, 1, and then this dot highlighted blue, 0, and then that will slide it back out. Well, sorry, if I put it on the actual widget like it's supposed to. There we go. So we've got those two now set up. Let's make sure that all the animations are correct. So this is the N. It needs to be a 0 and a 1. So that is in reverse here. And then this one needs to be a 1 and a 0, which is reversed on this. And that was my foobar, because a lot of times I'll click on it and not actually make sure that I'm on the proper animation for it. So like animation 1, they look identical. It's kind of hard to tell unless you are paying attention, and half the time I do not. That's where I run into some of my issues. Alright, so we've got those animations done. So now we're going to go to the button aspect of the animations. So you're going to add a button. We're actually going to go ahead and add 2 buttons. Button 1 is going to be to show, button 2 is going to be for it to unshow or hide, basically. So any buttons that you do, you're going to do control. Oh, sorry, I actually jumped ahead of myself there. So once this one slides in, you want this one to do its animation. So you're going to go to your animation in, which is this one. Make sure that you're highlighted on it, and once this comes in, you would want this one to start its animation, the white box to start its animation. So you're going to do actions when completed. You're going to make 2 different actions. The first one can stay change widget visibility. Second one, or however you want to do that, then you have to have animations play. You have to find the correct animation that you're going to be doing. Since the first animation, or animation 1, is going to be the white slide in, then you just make sure that widget 2, which is your white box, just so that you're aware, widget 2 is, so that it will look something similar to this. Your effect, you have to put it on show, not toggle or anything like that. And then you find the widget, so you're going to have 2 targets, which technically it's 1 target and 1 value, but they're both the targets for widget 2, and that's for any time it comes in. Now anytime it goes out, it's going to be slightly different. So once the white box goes out, we want the black box to show. So since this is the out, and just to make sure, okay, okay, yeah, no, sorry. So we do have it set up to 1 and 0. So this is the out. So once it plays, you want it to play the secondary video for, or animation for the out portion. And actually animation 2 is incorrect. It's the animation 1. Or a copy of animation 1, sorry. So animation 1, you only need one play if it's already being shown. And since widget 1 is the box that we want it to show coming in, or sorry, going out, it will be something like this. So you've got your animation, your effect, which is play, the target, which is the secondary animation or the out animation, and then your widget 1. So now, let's go ahead and save that, and we're going to export it. We're going to do it test animations. And now we can open up the test animations. And then, of course, your box is going to come up. And this is how you would actually activate those. But as you see right now, it defaults to shown. So that's something that you always need to pay attention to as well, which I almost always forget that. I wished it would start invisible and then we would toggle it to visible. So now those are set. Now your buttons will go into the actions. So this is your first button, or the show. So we're going to show animation, not pause, play, and we're doing the in and widget 1 and then widget 1. Now the out needs to only have one, and it's the animation, play, and this is animation 2, I believe we have it set up. No, it's the copy of animation 1, and then it needs to be widget 2 because that's the white box leaving. So just to make sure we have actions completed, it's going to play widget 1, then animation in needs to make sure that it's got those two, and make sure nothing else accidentally got put in the others, which that one did. Alright, so now we've got just a general slide in, slide out. We're going to export it, and we've already got test animations. We're going to save it, and now we're going to open it up. It should default to not shown, and then when you press the button, it's going to start from here in the corner. Oh, apparently I have the animation slightly wrong there, so I apologize about that. So animation 2, let's make sure that that's set up. See, and there's the issue already. So it's copy of animation, it's animation 2 is what we needed actually. So now we're going to re-export. Now that that's exported, let's open it back up. Slides in, slides there, and then when you hit the button to stop it, it slides right back out. And that's really all you really need to know about animations and how the buttons interact with each other. It can get a little tedious and tiresome at times, and there's a lot of finagling that you have to do. But as you see, it's still fairly easy. It's just tedious is the main thing. Well, if y'all have any questions, just contact me either on iRacing or on my website at iBog.co. Have a great afternoon.